Sometimes it feels like you're holding the last fragile piece of yourself together, and the world just keeps pulling at the seams. Maybe you woke up today already tired, like you've been running a race you never signed up for. Breathe in slowly. Do you feel that weight in your chest? That's not just exhaustion. It's the ache of questions that echo in empty spaces. When you close your eyes, the silence isn't comforting. It's sharp. It's the kind of silence that makes your heart pound louder, not quieter. There are days when you reach out, hoping for a sign, but all you hear is your own breathing and the steady tick of a clock that doesn't care how you feel. Maybe you wonder if anyone would notice if you just let go. Maybe you're tired of pretending you're fine when you're not. There's a heaviness in your bones, a sigh that never quite escapes your lips. You keep showing up. You keep hoping. But deep down, you're afraid nothing's going to change. You wait for answers that don't come. You wait for comfort that feels just out of reach. Still, you hold on, even if you're not sure why. What if this silence isn't emptiness? What if it's not a sign that you've been forgotten, but something else? Maybe, just maybe, this quiet is where something new begins to grow. So before you let go, before you give in to the urge to fall apart completely, listen. Something is about to shift. The silence is not the end of your story. It could be the place where everything starts to change. Sometimes it feels like you're carrying a weight so heavy, but you can't even name it. Maybe it's been days, weeks, or even years since you last felt truly light inside. Have you ever wondered how long you've walked around with this ache pressed deep inside your chest, not letting anyone see, not even yourself? It's strange how the world keeps spinning when you feel like you're falling apart, how you can laugh and nod and say you're fine while feeling so tired on the inside. Maybe you've tried to hide your exhaustion, telling yourself that you should be stronger, that faith should have made you unbreakable. But what if you've only learned to bury your questions and doubts, thinking that struggling means you're somehow failing? Have you ever caught yourself feeling ashamed, not just of your weakness, but of the fact that you're ashamed at all? Sometimes it's not just the silence around you, but the silence within you, as if you're waiting for a voice that never quite comes. There are moments when you wonder if anyone else feels this worn out, this empty, or if it's just you. Maybe you ask yourself, is it normal to feel so distant, even from the things you once held close? Does the ache of spiritual exhaustion mean there's something wrong with you? Or is it simply part of being human? And what about the guilt that lingers when you can't muster the energy to pray, or when hope feels like a story you told yourself a long time ago? It's easy to believe that you're alone in this, that real faith never falters. But what if even the strongest hearts have moments when the silence is too much, when the questions are louder than the answers? Sometimes it feels as if nothing moves, as if everything inside and around me is suspended in a quiet, endless dusk. But even in this hush, I wonder if there is more happening than I can see. Like seeds buried under winter earth, silent and hidden, yet quietly splitting open, reaching for something they cannot name. I imagine the darkness not as a grave, but as a womb, a place where what's needed grows in secret, slow and sure, before it ever sees the sun. There are moments I remember, brief and almost weightless, when comfort brushed past me without warning or explanation. Like the gentle touch of a breeze before the first drops of rain, or the faintest blush of light at the edge of morning. I recall times when I stood up, though I had no strength left, or when tears dried, not because the sorrow was gone, but because something unseen steadied me just enough to keep breathing. Perhaps the silence is not emptiness, but a field being readied for something new. Absence, maybe, is not abandonment, but a quiet space where hope gathers itself, unnoticed. There is a tenderness in this thought, like the way roots push through stone in the dark, or how a heart can ache and still keep beating. I find myself waiting, not for answers, but for the next small sign, a tremor in the stillness, a breath I didn't expect, the warmth of a memory I didn't know I needed. It is not certainty that visits me, only the soft suggestion that unseen things are at work, that maybe, without me realizing, something inside is already beginning to mend, to stretch, to reach for light. In this gentle pause, I let myself believe, even if just for a moment, that the quiet is alive. That perhaps in the very places I feel most lost, something new is quietly being born. Maybe what I'm living through isn't abandonment. Maybe it's the silence of a God who is somehow still present. This quiet isn't emptiness. It's a waiting place, a space where everything inside me is being rearranged quietly, gently beneath the surface. What felt like a dead end, a final pause, starts to reveal itself as a kind of beginning, a womb instead of a tomb, the hush before something new. I breathe in the darkness, feeling the weight of my own uncertainty, and something inside whispers that I am not motionless. I am being gestated from within. There's a presence here, veiled and almost imperceptible, like seeds sleeping in the soil, hidden from any light but not forgotten. The pause in my life is no longer only a sign of loss. It's a silent tending, an invisible care that doesn't rush but allows space for things to grow at their own pace. What I thought was absence is beginning to feel like a different kind of nearness, one that doesn't shout or explain but simply stays. Maybe it's possible that even in the most silent moments, I am being held. That what I'm living is not a punishment, not a void, but a slow, quiet transformation. A field is being prepared in me, though I can't see the harvest yet. The darkness is not the enemy. It's the earth where the next chapter is being sown. My breath, the silence, the not knowing, all of it is part of this hidden work. What felt like the end might actually be the start of something I can't yet imagine. This is when a new name emerges from inside the silence. It is not abandonment. It is gestation. It is the sacred hush before the dawn. Maybe right now you're noticing a quiet relief settling in your chest, or perhaps a single tear has finally traced your cheek, one you didn't even know you'd been holding back. If you've come this far and something inside you whispers, "This makes sense, even if I can't explain why," that's already a gentle act of faith. It's okay if your heart is still full of questions. It's okay if you feel both comforted and uncertain all at once. That's part of being human, part of living with both ache and hope in the same breath. If this story touched something deep within you, let yourself answer in your own way. Maybe you'll write an amen in the quiet of your heart, or simply breathe a sigh that says, "I'm still here." You can show your own silent yes by lingering for just a moment longer. There's no need for big gestures. Sometimes the smallest response is the most honest. And know this, somewhere, someone else is listening too, feeling what you feel in their own silent way. You're not the only one who's walked through a dark night searching for the beginnings of dawn. There's an invisible circle of souls, just like yours, who are also learning to wait, to hope, to trust the silent spaces. You haven't been forgotten. The quiet you feel right now is not empty. It's filled with the promise that something holy is drawing near. Even if you can't name it yet, even if you can only sense a gentle presence hovering at the edge of your awareness, that is enough for now. Stay with this moment just a bit longer and let your heart remain open for what is about to be revealed. Maybe now you can see it. God never left your side. Even when the silence felt endless and the ache too heavy, He was there, gentle, unhurried, simply present. There was no demand for words, no expectation that you perform or prove your worth. Jesus never turned away from your tired heart. In fact, He draws nearer to those who feel worn out, those who wonder if they still belong. You don't have to pray perfectly or even at all for Him to stay close. Even when you felt nothing, even when you doubted everything, He kept loving you, never once letting go, not even on the days you thought about letting go of everything yourself. There's a quiet restoration happening here, something deeper than making up for lost time or fixing broken routines. This is the gentle truth that you are wanted, held, and safe, not because you performed or deserved it, but simply because you are His. All the old fears, the sense that maybe you failed, that maybe you disappointed God, that maybe you left because you weren't strong enough, those are just shadows. The reality is brighter. You never had to earn His nearness. He has always been here, especially in the moments you felt most alone. It's possible that what you're feeling now is the beginning of being able to trust again, not in yourself, not in your own strength, but in the steady kindness that never stopped reaching for you. Rest in this. You don't need to prove anything. God never gave up on you. Not even for a second, not even when you wanted to give up on yourself. Maybe, just maybe, He's been speaking this to you all along in ways that cross centuries in silence, waiting for the moment your heart was quiet enough to hear. And soon, you'll hear those ancient words, timeless and alive, that have always meant to find you. Maybe you didn't know, but this ache you carry, this longing to be held together when everything feels like it's falling apart, this already had a name in the ancient words. This valley you cross, the silence that sometimes weighs heavy, it is not new to the heart of God. There's a promise that moves quietly through the centuries, not shouting, not demanding, but gently reaching for you right now. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Matthew 11 verse 28. This isn't just an old promise. It's a whisper that makes its way through time and finds you exactly where you are, in the tiredness you can barely name, in the confusion that sits quietly behind your eyes. You don't need to have the right words, or the right answers, or even the right kind of faith. This invitation isn't for the strong or the certain. It's for the ones who have nothing left to prove, the ones who are just trying to breathe through the day, the ones who feel like they're unraveling at the seams. Come to me. That's all. In the silence, in the mess, in the waiting. You're not asked to do or become or perform. You're simply seen and wanted and welcomed. The rest Jesus offers is not far off. It's not a finish line you have to cross. It's the gentle arms that gather you in, the presence that sits with you in the dark, the love that holds you exactly as you are. Let these words find you. Let them rest with you. Even now, especially now, you're not alone. Maybe today, your prayer is simply to remain standing, not with grand words or perfect posture, but just by being here, breathing in the middle of everything that feels unfinished. Faith is not always a leap. It can be a quiet sigh, a silent hope that survives the night. Sometimes, faith looks like staying, even when you have nothing left to give. It is the gentle weight of choosing not to run away from your own heart. You don't need to hurry. The seed of the word grows in the dark, while you simply breathe, barely noticing. Spiritual life isn't measured by noise or effort, but by the quiet courage to keep showing up again and again, in the silence of your routine, in the tiredness of your body, in the ordinary and unspectacular hours of the day. The path is not always outside or ahead. It runs deep within you. And perhaps, without realizing, you are already on that journey. Today, the invitation is not to act or achieve, but to remain. To let yourself be held, even if you feel like you're falling apart. To trust that being here, exactly as you are, is enough. Your faith does not have to be loud or strong. It can be small, a whispered hope, a tired breath, a pause in the middle of worry. This too is spiritual. Even in the most common moments, when nothing seems to move, there is a sacredness in your presence, in your willingness to stay. Let the silence be a companion, not a threat. Let the ordinary hold the holy. You are not alone in the waiting. You are seen, you are loved, and you are invited to rest. Not by doing, but simply by being. And as you remain, something new is quietly growing even now. Jesus, sometimes my heart is just a handful of fragments. I wish I could bring you something whole, but all I have are these quiet pieces and a tired soul. I don't have the right words, and maybe I never will, but you see me even when I'm silent. You know me deeper than I know myself. I'm not here to pretend. I don't want to perform strength I don't have. I just want to rest in you, just as I am, in this moment, still, unsure, but present. Thank you for not turning away when I wanted to give up. When I felt lost, when the silence felt heavy and endless, you stayed. You saw the questions I couldn't speak and the hope I barely dared to feel. In a valley of waiting, you were the quiet companion. You held me when I was too tired to hold anything together. I confess, Lord, that my faith is small. Sometimes only a sigh or a whisper, a tiny seed buried deep in the soil of my doubts. But I see now that you aren't asking me for more than that. You're gentle with my uncertainty. You let me be unfinished and still call me beloved. Even when change is slow, even when nothing seems to move, you are here, patient, steady, shaping something new within me that I cannot see. Teach me to trust you in the silence, to believe that even when I have nothing to offer, I am enough. Thank you for being the safe place where I can stop fighting. Thank you for loving me when I don't know how to love myself. I surrender what I cannot fix, and I choose to stay here with you, letting your presence be my home. Hold me when I feel like falling apart. Let your quiet love be the ground where my soul rests and grows. Amen. Even now, God is still with you. Even if you can't feel him, he remains quiet, faithful, closer than your own breath. The silence that once seemed empty is now a gentle promise. What was planted in you today will grow, in its own time, in ways you may not see just yet. If all you managed today was a single breath, know that even that is a prayer. You're not alone. You never have been. If these words found a home in you, let your heart whisper an amen. You can also let a silent gesture of faith, like a simple be your prayer today. Maybe share this with someone who is waiting in their own silence. You never know who might be longing for a quiet reminder that they are not forgotten. This is a place you can return to whenever you need to breathe, to rest, or just to remember that you are deeply loved. If you want to keep walking this journey with us, you are welcome. This space belongs to you too. For now, may you find peace in the knowing. You are seen, you are held, and you are safe.